I'm going to ask Jamila to welcome you all. This is Jamila. That's her house, and this is her land. I'm just a squatter, all right. And Jamila, here, okay. You all can be over this side. Okay. You all can be over this side. Yeah, if you there are chairs around. If you need to sit down,
we've got
number one,
chairs.
Face downhill. You face uphill, you topple over. All right. Yeah.
There's more, yeah, it's very slopey here. So this is my property, and 2 years ago I encouraged Ben and Alia to move next door, and because I'd been really wanting to have a food forest here, and it just naturally evolved really that Ben and Alia started gardening to make space because they love gardening so much and they miss their property. So I've had this property here since 2007, so quite some time. And the vision really is people come and take retreats to be a healing place, a place for meditation and spiritual growth, and to create healthy soil and a healthy lifestyle.
We've known Jamila for a very long time, and when we needed a place to stay, she said, well, there is a place there available, and we came over. I was very pleased actually, because she and Anne, Alia, where is she? They know each other so well that Anne visits Jamila 3 times a week or so, and sometimes in the weekend. And you know what crazies are like in the night, driving home. I used to get worried. And now, our flat is just there, and she walks down, and she can just put a flying fox there, and she'll be there. You know, so I'm pretty pleased with that. So we moved in about September of 2019. That's about 2.5 years now. And I brought some of my plants in pots, and we put them where my car is. And about 2 or 3 months later, Jamila says, hey, you know, I didn't even know this place exists. I've got this piece of garden at the back there. Would you like to start something there? So I said, oh, that looks interesting. So I came down with her, we had a look, I was amazed. Please send those photographs around so that I thought you have a rough idea what I'm talking about. All right. So at that time, there was, if you see one of the photographs, there's nothing there except these 2 citrus trees. And you can see they're much lower up to here. And that persimmon tree, which is fruiting for the first time, Jamila is over the moon with that one. There's an old apple tree. In the photograph you can see it, but now it's been covered up. These 2 old plum trees, a row of 6 feijoas, and a few fig trees at the back there that has never given any figs. All right, got to threaten it with this. So we came, and that was September, I said, and about December, Jamila asked me, and where Adrian is, I sat down there, and I said, I really need to get in touch with this place here. I called a few friends over from Tree Crops and maybe from Soil and Health to come and have a look. And they're garden design people, they are horticulturists, scientists. I took them around, we went for a walk. Each one of them, the garden design guy says, you must do this. There's a lot of water coming down, you need drainage. You have to have a herringbone and everything. The funniest one was this guy who was very interested in agriculture. And he came and told me, all right, where's your vegetable bed going to be? And I said, everywhere. He said, no, come on, tell me where. Where are you going to plant your vegetable? I said, everywhere. And I've never been called an idiot so many times in half an hour.
Good idea.
Anyway, he came over here and he said, if I were you, I'll build a bed 1 meter wide, 30 meters long, And that's one. And the next one, he says, okay. So rather than have an argument, I said, okay. Now what are you going to plant in there? I said, everything. He wanted me to say, well, there's broccoli, there's cabbage, or whatever it is. So anyway, to show you that I always say the worst person in the garden is the gardener. You get a good gardener is the best thing, all right? But most of the time, it is us. We are the most stubborn, the most obstinate, the most illogical, and the most... We want things the way we want things. Nature is not like that. I grew up in a tropical orchard. As kids, we ran around like this ones, and then we get some seeds, and we find there's a spot there, stick it in. That's how nature was. And what I want you to notice first of all is Jamila's bush there. If you have a look from there coming over here. It's almost like an extension. It's part of that. All right, and that is one thing. All these friends gave me advice and designs and everything. I ignored every one of them. Number one, nature never had rectangular beds. Nature has curves. Nature has all this. So you find this may be the only construction here. Nothing else is constructed. Beds are on the ground, and that's what it is. So what we had in a way was a nice bare patch that we need to. So I sat down on that part there, and once in a while Jamila comes down, and maybe 2 days later she comes down again, and she said, she must have thought I slept there. She said, you're still there? I said, yeah, I'm still thinking. It took me 2 months of thinking and looking before I had a rough idea what I was going to do. By which time something tremendous happened. We had our first lockdown. That photograph I took was up there, standing up there, and you can see all Kaikuya, and one big mound here about this high that stretched from here to there. And we thought somebody's old garden bed. Yippee-doo! And Jamila and Anne went round and tried to pull out the kaikuya. Underneath were tarpaulin and old carpets and everything possible. The neighbor had to have her truck load them all up and take them away. And it was there that much until it went right down to the ground. And that was how big a mess that was. So during the first lockdown, I think they spent a couple of months doing that every day. Real hard work. And that was when I had my first inkling, where I said, that's a nice spot. This was nothing, all right, just grass. So you can see what I did. That's the first tree I planted. In case you're wondering, I'm going to show you some use of this as well. Those who went to Matapuri, all these people who do what they call synthropy, which is a kind of sustainable agriculture, they all carry this, usually here, all right? And they do what's known as chop and drop. And basically we chop and drop. But of course, having two ladies here, whatever you chop, they tidy up. All right. By right, this should all be full of mess. But well, you know, there it is. So I dug a hole here, and I had this tree, a grafted tree. Pears need double grafting, intergraft and another graft, and planted it in. You will notice that because of Auckland, how wet and clay, most of my trees are planted about this high, above the ground. Plant it low and it won't grow. Plant it high and it won't die. So that was Then of course on the second year I got excited. I grafted another one, another one, and another one, and another one. So hopefully there'll be a lot here. And I'm hoping that this will go up over there. So as you go past it, you get your head conked by pears. So there it is. One of the funny things we noticed when we went to learn at Matapuri, I actually didn't want to go, but Jamila even sponsored me, and I thought it's a good idea, because a partnership like this is like a marriage. You got to understand what's happening. She got to understand what I'm doing. I've got to understand what she's. We have to know what we know. And when I went there, I got on well with Klaus, because how he planted was the way I would have planted. So we got on very well. And if we just look at this small space, elderberry, cherry moya, self-sown feijoa, a very interesting plant from South Africa called a natto plum, or the natives call them num num tree, all right? Because the fruit is so num num, all right? And then we had a compost bin here, and what happens is I'll take the compost, take it somewhere else, the compost drops there, and plants the veggies. Which is the next thing you want to realize what I'm doing here. Some of you will say, where are the natives? I'm not into natives. I'm into food. Secondly, where's your Zane will complain here. Where's your compost thingies? I do have a few compost bins. It's easy to just chuck things in there, cold composting. But basically, no composting. Why would I want to put it there, let it rot, carry it to put it somewhere else? It makes no sense. If it goes down there, it helps the place. So that's what it is. So while the two ladies had their bums to the sky, cleaning up the bush, I was over here, and I decided, oh, this is a nice place. All the water is going to run down here, and you've heard of swales and all that. What if I built a little mound here that the Germans call Hugelkultur bed? We just got some veggies because Anne will die of starvation soon if we don't have that. And one of the photographs showed me digging about 1.5 spade deep. Jamila said they cut down some of the dead trees and trees that come over. So we laid them in here, and then we put mulch and we laid another layer, another layer. I kid you not, it was this high. Wow. All right, but over time it's gone down. I think next year I have to redo it and reshape it, because a hugel bed can be this high. And when you think of the land area, you actually get a very big bed, one side facing the sun, one side away from the sun, and it's really, and the wood rots underneath. It absorbs the water, so water retention. It gives out the water. Very little water needed here in drought. So it's about 3.5 meters, I kid you not. Most of it was just wood. Wood mulch.
Some of your clay soil back in there or not?
Yes, at the sides here, just to hold it. And when we first put it, there were only a few barrel loads of earth at the top, and it started growing.